speaking of the future, we got Supergirl coming out next year. That's the next DCU movie we got next, which is really interesting because it's based off the comic of Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. Have you read that comic?
I haven't read, to be honest, I'm not really much of a comic book reader, but I'm actually thinking about going into trying to read Woman of Tomorrow before watching this movie. Because I know that James Gunn said that some of these movies and shows, he hopes that people will get into comic books again.
Mhm.
So I'm a convinced person. So I think I will read Woman of Tomorrow as well as read the Superman inspiration. I think it was, what was it, All Star Superman, I believe.
Oh yeah, yeah. All Star Superman, Superman Birthright. I just know the names. I don't actually read the comics. I just know the names.
Okay,
But
got you.
I heard they're really, really good. You remember Comic Historian, right?
Think so, yes.
Yes, yes. I remember watching the video for Women of Tomorrow, and it's a very interesting story about, like, it's essentially a character study of Supergirl and how jarringly different she is from Superman, but she's still
Mhm.
aligned in the same beliefs as Superman, which is really cool. I think that's a really good way to explore
Yeah,
Supergirl, because Supergirl isn't really like a girl version of Clark Kent. She's her own thing. She's a cousin
right.
of Superman.
I was gonna say it's great that they actually, they differentiate them because I feel like a lot of people when they're like, oh, they're cousins, so they're gonna have like the same exact type of personality. It's nice that they go and they have a comic that they kind of change the personality of one character to make them look and feel like they're not just like a gender swap carbon copy of an original hero. So it is nice on getting to see that, and we do actually see that a little bit in Superman post. Spoiler alert, of how Supergirl does show up. I think it's nice that they even showed that little bit of like her different character between her and Superman, how they're different, how they cope with different things, and we can already see how it is now. So it is really nice on getting to see that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's really important to differentiate that and explore what makes her a hero without also being like a copy of Superman. And I think that's really cool. And I really love the casting for Millie Alcock. Like I feel like so far they've been really great with casting for all of these characters, especially for Florence Sweat and now with Millie Alcock, which as Supergirl, as Kara. And I think that's very, very cool. I think she carries that rough nature to her, especially like if you I didn't really watch House of Dragon. That's the show that she was in, right?
Yeah,
Have you watched House of Dragon?
I haven't watched anything Game of Thrones to be honest, but I know that she's in that one new show. I think it's Sirens. I haven't seen that either, but I heard she's incredible in it.
Oh yeah, I heard she's an incredible actress, and she looks the part really well. So I mean, like, hey, go for it. If she's great here, and I'm just gonna watch everything she's in, because I mean, like, hey, it's just sometimes when you see a like actor that's great in like the most iconic role, you just kind of can't stop watching them. And I think that's what's awesome about Lily Alcock, and she looks like she fits well. And the story they have going on seems like they'll adapt it, but not copy it word for word, because they also have Lobo in this, right? With
Oh
Jason Momoa, which is really cool because I
yeah,
think Jason Momoa looks the part so well. He looks
oh
amazing.
yeah. He definitely rocks like the punk rock type of vibe that Lobo already gives as an anti-hero slash villain character. Because I've seen him in some of the animated movies or whatever that they had clips of the character in, and I'm like, yeah, Jason Momoa is more of a Lobo than he is an Aquaman.
Oh
But
yeah,
even though physically, like on the outside, he doesn't look like Aquaman, like the ideal Aquaman for the comics. I did end up growing to like him as Aquaman just because he has like that adventurous spirit, but also like that humorous side of him, that but seriousness that he knows how to balance deeply, which is what made his version of Aquaman pretty iconic. And now we get these two different versions of Aquaman. Is like, do we go by the Snyderverse or do we just go by the traditional comics and animated shows?
this is why we root for Alan Richard as Aquaman. Aquaman, Aquaman.
I'm definitely rooting for him as Aquaman. I really am rooting for him to be Aquaman. If James Gunn does get Alan Richard for Aquaman, and hopefully he sees this podcast episode, please, please hire us both for DC or something like that. At least hire us for something, or at least if Kevin Feige's watching this, please hire us for Marvel too. Like this, I don't care if doing dual work. I'll do it. I think
Be a
we'll do it.
dishwasher, be a janitor, easy.
And then we'll just swap shifts for like the different studios.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. We can always hear the secrets when they're pooping. Like, oh, we're saying this thing. Nice. Wipe,
Oh
wipe, wipe.
no, no.
Jason Momoa's Aquaman always had those mannerisms of Lobo. Anyways.
Yeah,
And I feel like Lobo is kind of like he's closer to Deadpool, but not like Deadpool, because I know Lobo has like an insane healing factor too, and
yeah.
he's also kind of just crazy. So I'm like, okay, that's kind of amazing. That's amazing. And
Mhm.
he's like one of those bounty hunters as well. So he is essentially like Deadpool, just missing the. He's also very charismatic. So it's just a lot of Deadpoolisms, but not like Deadpool whatsoever. So I feel like it's really
Yeah.
interesting to explore that, and I'm really hoping. I don't think Momoa is gonna be like a huge villain for Supergirl, but I feel like he'll just be a part of that journey. I feel like the huge villain will
Right.
be the different. I forgot his name, right? But yeah, there's a different villain who's also going to be in this, and it's very interesting for sure.
And it's interesting because I remember watching him in a Minecraft movie, and honestly, he was just so insanely outlandish, and getting to have that great chemistry with Jack Black as like very outrageous and very outgoing characters. And I know that Lobo is more on par with being outlandish and outwards, and he says what's on his mind, and he doesn't care about what anybody else thinks. And I really am like, I thought to myself when I was watching the movie, and I'm like, you know what? He definitely is Lobo. You just put on like he can still keep the hair. He just put on the white makeup. You put him in the punk rock suit and outfit or whatever. That's Lobo. That's definitely Lobo.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I feel like it fits perfectly with how Gunn has described the Supergirl movie, where it's more punk rock. It's far more out there, right? I feel like it's actually more in line with Gunn's Guardians films than it would be more in line with Superman. And I think it's actually really exciting. That's exciting to me
Yeah.
because it actually takes place in space, so it explores the
Okay.
space area of the DC universe, which is amazing to hear that we're world building that way as well. Because Superman built out the world in a way where it's on Earth, but then there's also worlds that are above Earth in terms of the DC universe, which is amazing that we're gonna explore that. And I'm just
Okay.
hoping Supergirl is great. I hope it acts more like a, because I know the story is also kind of like an origin story. I know that people
Yeah.
like they kind of know what Supergirl's all about, but she's not as iconic as Superman, so it's not like we know everything. So I feel like it's a great way to contextualize Clark's origins while also contextualizing Kara's origins as well. Because
Yeah.
I don't think I want to spoil the comic at all, but I do want to say like how the unique aspects to Kara's origins in that story. Because in the comic, right, she's it when Krypton fell, right, and Clark got sent out, and he got sent out of the planet, right. He gets the planet around him explodes, but just a piece of rock and a piece of meteor survived in Krypton. So that's where Kara and her family lived. They lived in that piece of rock, and that's where like they created an atmosphere there for a second, right? Which is really cool until they realized they got kryptonite poisoning. So they actually started slowly dying minute by minute. So her family slowly dying in front of her too, which is really sad. So that's been traumatic, honestly, when you think about it. That's one thing I wanted to point out because I think that's really cool. That's a cool way to contextualize the jarring differences between Clark and Kara. Because Clark got sent out of a planet that he had no attachment to in terms of living in it, right? But Tara, she was born there. She saw her parents there. She was conscious at least, and she saw her family literally die in front of her. Her planet die in front of her while they were slowly surviving. It's just, I don't know. It's a very interesting way to do a Clark origin story without showing the entire origin story. You know?
Yeah, and I think that it's nice that we're not seeing the actual origin story for Superman again, because we've
Mhm.
seen this so many times in shows and movies, and I think that it's time for Supergirl to have her origin story, especially because I feel like it's a lot different from the Supergirl movie that we got in the '80s. So I think that she definitely deserves her origin story to be told, at least if not in flashbacks, at least get like an introduction somehow, and making it kind of like an homage to like this version of Superman and then Christopher Reeve's version of Superman with the openings. So I think that it would be nice on getting to see a little bit of a thing beforehand. And we're definitely getting a great director with Craig Gillespie. I think I'm pronouncing his last name right. Like he's doing the Supergirl movie, like he's directing it, and I mean like he did an incredible job with Cruella. And I think that with him taking on a superhero movie like Supergirl, I think that it's definitely going to be a thrilling experience. It's going to feel a lot different, but I think it's going to feel like a great addition to this modern DC universe that it's not going to feel like Marvel, but it's going to actually feel like a comic book brought to life, but just set in a universe that you can be able to explore any character you want. And it's not going to compete with each other, but it's going to complement and play off of each other towards the bigger story.
Oh yeah, dude. That's what I'm really hoping for with the Supergirl movie, and I'm really excited for it, especially now knowing the story and after seeing a glimpse of Kara's portrayal of in Superman and seeing that translated into Supergirl. I feel like the hype is real, and I feel like it's great to see that for a different. She's not really a pillar of the DC universe, but it seems like she will be a great, big supporting piece in this new universe, which is great because we never got that in the DCEU. It feels like we're building towards something, and we're building the universe one step at a time, even if it feels like we're cramming in a lot at once as well. It's
Yeah.
a very interesting way they're building it, but it seems like it's working. It's definitely
Yeah.
working.